The Sapphire Grill was the crown jewel of the city's culinary scene, a place where the chandeliers were made of hand-blown glass, and the wait list was 6 months long. At the front podium stood Ilara, the head hostess. She wore a bold red cocktail dress that clung to her with an air of predatory elegance. To Ilara, the podium wasn't a workstation. It was a border checkpoint. She spent her evenings turning away anyone who didn't look like they belonged in a high-gloss magazine. Her face carried a perpetual bold red flush of arrogance as she looked down her nose at the commoners attempting to gain entry. Kaia walked to the heavy mahogany doors, her presence quiet but undeniable. She was the silent partner and real owner of the restaurant group, arriving for a surprise quality control check. She was dressed in a deep navy silk slip dress underneath a long, structured white blazer. In her hand, she carried a yellow leather tablet cover containing the restaurant's private financial audits. She looked like a successful professional, but to the status-obsessed Ilara, she lacked a flash of the regular clientele. "Name?" Ilara asked, not looking up from her digital floor plan. "Vaughn. Party of one," Kaia replied, her voice a calm, resonant deep navy. Ilara scrolled through the screen with a manicured finger, then stopped. She looked Kaia up and down, her eyes lingering dismissively on the white blazer. "I don't see a Vaughn. We are fully committed. Perhaps there's a diner down the street that's more your speed." "I have the confirmation right here," Kaia said, sliding a printed reservation slip across the marble podium. Ilara didn't even look at it. Instead, she reached out and aggressively swiped the paper off the counter, crumpling it in her fist. She then leaned over the podium, physically invading Kaia's space until their faces were inches apart, the scent of Ilara's expensive perfume acting like a chemical weapon. "I said we're full. Do I need to have security show you the way to the sidewalk?" Kaia didn't flinch. "I suggest you look at that paper again, Ilara." In a final act of televised disrespect, Ilara grabbed the reservation slip with both hands and shredded it into tiny pieces, tossing confetti directly at Kaia's chest. "There's your reservation. It's trash, just like your outfit. Now move before I call the police." The justice debt reached a boiling point. The witnesses in the scene, a group of wealthy patrons waiting for their valets, stopped in their tracks. A woman in a canary yellow gown gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. A man in a white tuxedo narrowed his eyes, disgusted by the hostess's lack of class. The lobby was a blur of white and yellow, with several people already recording the physical aggression on their phones. "You should have checked the signature on that trash," Kaia said, her voice dropping to a dangerous, low frequency. Ilara laughed, a sharp, grating sound. She signaled to Soren, the lead server, who was dressed in a bold red vest. "Soren, this woman is harassing the staff. Grab her arm and escort her out. Now." Soren stepped forward, his face set in a smirk. He reached out and gripped Kaia's forearm with a bruising force, attempting to jerk her toward the exit. "Let go of me, Soren," Kaia commanded. "Make me?" Soren sneered, tightening his grip. He didn't see the deep navy SUV pull up to the curb, or the 3 men in suits stepping out. He only saw a woman he thought he could bully. He didn't know that the real owner had just decided to fire the entire floor staff. The lobby of the Sapphire Grill felt as though the oxygen had been sucked out of it. Soren still held Kaia's arm with a bruising grip, and Ilara was still smirking at the confetti of the shredded reservation resting on Kaia's white blazer. The smirk vanished when the restaurant's general manager, Jensen, came sprinting from the back office, his face turning a ghostly pale that clashed with his bold red tie. "Soren, let go of her this instant," Jensen screamed, his voice cracking. Soren let go as if Kaia's skin had turned into white hot iron. Ilara stepped forward, smoothing her bold red dress. "Jensen, thank God. This woman is delusional." She claimed she had a reservation and then started harassing. "Shut up, Ilara," Jensen hissed. He turned to Kaia, bowing so low his forehead nearly touched the podium. "Ms. Vaughn, I am so incredibly sorry. We didn't expect you until the private audit tomorrow." "The audit started 10 minutes ago, Jensen," Kaia said, her voice a cold, resonant deep navy. She brushed the shredded paper off her lapel. "And the results are in. This restaurant has a terminal case of arrogance. The witnesses in the scene erupted into whispers. The woman in the canary yellow gown pulled out her phone to record the shift in power. Ilara's eyes darted between Jensen and Kaia, the realization of her mistake hitting her like a physical blow. Real owner, she whispered, her voice trembling. Kaia stepped behind the marble podium, reclaiming the space. She picked up the yellow leather tablet and tapped a few keys. Ilara, you told me my outfit was trash. Soren, you thought your strength gave you the right to manhandle a guest. Kaia turned the tablet around so the entire lobby and the recording witnesses could see the screen. It was a staff payroll and access portal. With a single, sharp tap, she deactivated their profiles. You're both terminated. For cause. Assault and gross misconduct, Kaia announced. Ilara's composure shattered. She lunged forward, her hands clawing at the air as she tried to grab the tablet from Kaia's hands. You can't do this. I built the reputation of this door. You're just some suit in a navy dress. Kaia didn't move. Two security guards in deep navy suits stepped in, physically intercepting Ilara and pinning her arms behind her back. Ms. Vaughn, please. Soren interjected, his voice high and frantic. He dropped to his knees on the polished marble, reaching out to grab the hem of Kaia's deep navy dress. I was just following Ilara's lead. I have bills to pay. I'll work for free for a month. Just don't put this on my record. You should have thought about your record before you put your hands on me, Kaia said, looking down at him with total indifference. Under the watchful eyes of the witnesses, the security team physically dragged Ilara and Soren to the main dining room. The crowd of diners, many in white and yellow attire, stopped mid-meal to watch the elite staff being hauled out like common criminals. Ilara's heels screeched against the floor as she was marched past the kitchen, her bold red dress now wrinkled and stained with the very paper she had shredded. They were deposited on the sidewalk in the rain, the exact spot Ilara had threatened to send Kaia. Kaia stood at the podium and looked at Jensen, who was shaking. Jensen called the backup staff. Everyone who witnessed this and didn't intervene is on probation. From now on, the Sapphire Grill serves people, not egos. Kaia took the yellow tablet, tucked it under her arm, and walked into the dining room. The real owner had arrived, and the table was finally set for justice.